Okay, and welcome to episode 38 of Beyond the Ropes.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Rob.
Yes, welcome to our recap episode. I'm currently loading up these results here. Because we have quite a bit of results here.
Oh, yeah.
We got 2 weeks of results. A lot has happened. We are heading into a Payback pay-per-view, actually, a Monday Night Raw exclusive
Munsey in the house.
pay-per-view. We've got viewers here, right?
Yes, both on, we have you now, and then we have Periscope today.
Yeah, so how can they find us there?
Payback. Oh, you don't like Payback, the pay-per-view?
Well, we got some interactions early on already, which is really cool. Let's start with these Raw results from last week.
Okay.
So we've got, again, a bit of catching up to do. We were off last week. The show opened up with essentially a recap of Braun Strowman's beatdown on Roman Reigns, and then Strowman came to the ring.
I would have liked to see another pay-per-view come back. The King of the Ring.
Cool, we're getting some interactions there, so we'll be going back and forth here throughout the show. Check us out on You Now. Where can they find us again?
This one's a talk hashtag today.
Hashtag talk?
Yeah.
Okay, hashtag talk, and then again, Periscope. How can they find us again?
Chat Pro Wrestling with us.
Chat Pro Wrestling with us. You can find us on YouTube, Beyond the Ropes. You can find us on Facebook. Go give us a like. Facebook.com/Beyond the Ropes, where we post our videos. We are on WPMD Radio, Mondays and Wednesdays from 5 to 6 p.m. That is 5 to 6 p.m. On Pacific time, United States.
Munsey, shout out. Okay,
We have an audience member.
Yeah.
Thank you for participating with us. So essentially, Strowman came out to start off last week's Raw, the 417 edition of Raw, saying he's going to prove he's a monster among men by destroying the entire locker room.
That's a tough one.
Journal manager Kurt Angle came out and made the match between Strowman and Reigns at Payback. So we'll be seeing that this Sunday at Payback. Strowman says it'll be Reigns' funeral. So,
man, Braun Strowman's pretty powerful lately.
He has been a very dominant force in this business. Angle says Angle essentially gave Strowman the night off, which Strowman didn't really abide. He kind of said he wants competition or else. It's kind of what Mick Foley did. He really didn't. I don't think he took him seriously.
Wow.
But which we found out later that Strowman was very serious.
Should be champ. Really? Oh, well, I mean, he is pretty powerful lately.
Samoa Joe took on Chris Jericho. Solid match. Seth Rollins was on commentary. The King Slayer was on commentary. Good match. Samoa Joe defeated the GOAT, as he's called, the greatest of all time, Chris Jericho, by making him tap out to the Coquina Clutch. And then Joe called out Rollins, and they had a little back and forth there. Something to look forward to this Sunday at Payback.
World Broadcasting Tag Team Championship.
Samoa Joe versus Seth Rollins in a match they were supposed to have before WrestleMania. Unfortunately, Seth got injured, but he will be back for that, or he is back for a match against Joe this Sunday at Payback. After Strowman completely decimated the Golden Truth backstage.
Oh, man.
It did not look pretty. Anderson and Gallows demanded competition, and they got Enzo and Cass. Good back and forth. Gallows put himself in the way of the boom shakalaka finish that they have to save his tag team partner, Carl Anderson. Cass took out Gallows and himself, and Anderson hit some sort of kind of snake eyes.
Wow. That was a strange
with
move.
Enzo's knees. It was an unorthodox move. Yeah, it looked very awkward. It did not look pretty, but it got the job done as Gallows and Anderson picked up the victory.
Actually, I do. Would you like that microphone as a tattoo?
Yeah, we've got our viewer here on Periscope interacting with us, showing him a tattoo. The Miz and Maurice hosted Miz TV. Miz and Maurice are on Raw, thanks to that Superstar shakeup. Really excited to have them on the Red Brand show right there. Their special guest was Dean Ambrose, and they went back and forth. back and forth. Miz essentially said Dean will never break the glass ceiling. It's not because he isn't talented, it's because he's lazy.
Favorite faction.
Ambrose defended himself by saying he loves what he does and that he works harder than anyone else. What are her comments?
Maurice is hot.
She is very beautiful. She's a very stunning individual. Absolutely. Miz said that he worked hard to bring the Intercontinental Championship to Prestige, but Ambrose is making it a joke. Ultimately, Ambrose attacked The Miz, and he scared off Miz and Maurice. So this feud is continuing kind of from the SmackDown.
Screenshot!
Oh, you got a screenshot? Is that a good thing? I don't know.
That's pretty cool. Actually, the WWE, there's that puzzle game. I don't know if you played it. You played it?
Which puzzle?
It's like what's that thing called? It's like Bubble or
Champions?
Is it It's like you're matching colors.
I think it's Champions. I haven't played that one. I played Super Card, and
it's pretty addicting.
I used to play that one, but I ran out of data, so.
It's hard.
Super Card, and then I played a little bit Immortals for a little bit.
Oh yeah, but that took up so much room.
Yeah, that one took a little lot, so I just stopped playing both. But I'd probably go back to Super Card.
It's hard to unlock people.
Super Card, they keep updating that one.
Wow.
With like a lot of new cards, which is really cool. So I might go back to that one. Yeah, so let's get into some cruiserweight action. T.J. Perkins taking on Jack Gallagher. T.J. Perkins with the new attitude. He's Neville's advocate. Fun little play there with Devil's advocate.
Oh, wow.
Saying, but Neville made a special appearance. He said it was a special appearance, and then Aries came out and said he made a special appearance. Ultimately,
since being a kid,
thanks to a distraction, Perkins got the victory. Got one up on Aries and Gallagher. So, a good kind of rebranding a little bit for T.J. Perkins. I hope that he eventually changes his music and his look, maybe, because it still looks very cartoonish.
Well, I mean, I guess because of the video game gimmick, though, it makes sense, though, for him.
Right, but, I mean, that's kind of a face thing, so.
Unless there's, like, a villain boss kind of thing.
That would be really cool if, you got some kind of video game villain music going on instead of that kind of cheery thing he's got going on right now. He has changed his personality a bit, so that's good. So hopefully we'll see more of that heading into the next couple of weeks. Again, Payback is this Sunday, so the Raw exclusive pay-per-view should be something to look forward to for the Cruiserweights. Aries versus Neville in a rematch. Their match at WrestleMania was spectacular, so I expect nothing less of this. The women had a fatal 4-way number 1 contenders match. This was a solid match. The new Raw, superstar, Alexa Bliss.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Along with Mickie James, who was also from Monday Night, now joined Monday Night Raw. As well as Sasha Banks and Nia Jax competed in a solid fatal 4-way match. Ultimately, it was a lot of back and forth, but Nia Jax hit Sasha. Well, she actually grabbed Sasha in a Samoan drop position and slammed her into Mickie James off the top rope. Looked like a bit of a nasty fall there. But then hit a Samoan drop on Sasha, and then Alexa Bliss, in her hometown of Columbus, Ohio, hit a drop kick on Nia, taking her out of the equation, and pinned Sasha to get the victory and become the new number 1 contender. So good for Sasha Banks. Good for Alexa Bliss, not Sasha Banks, unfortunately. But Alexa Bliss, the first ever 2-time SmackDown Women's Champion, could be the first ever Raw and SmackDown Women's Champion ever. That's pretty big.
That would be awesome.
So we'll find out. We'll give some predictions at the end of the show of this Payback exclusive match. We've got to write down, make sure we get all the notes and everything. So next up, it was Kurt Hawkins and his Star Factory.
Oh man!
Kind of against, and he made a open challenge saying Big Show was in the main event because of him. So
Strowman forgot one more person to put in the dumpster.
Earlier, Strowman again attacked Kalisto. He was dragging him backstage, Kalisto, who is also new to Monday Night Raw. and threw him in the dumpster, saying, just like Roman Reigns, "You're trash." Big Show then attacked him from behind, or kind of from the side, and pushed him into the kind of barricade type wall in the back, and said, "Pick on someone your own size," and that became the official main event of Monday Night Raw. So Kurt Hawkins took credit for Big Show being in the main event of Raw, because Big Show came out and attacked him, or knocked him out the previous week. So he said he's going to make another star, and guess who came out? None other than Finn Balor. Very casually walking to the ring, very cool, very crisp, and they got a quick victory over Hawkins, hitting that coup de grace finish, the double foot stomp to the abdomen.
Thought it was so strange how so fast this week they just introduced him to the other Bullet Club members.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that. It was interesting. We'll talk about that when we get to this week's Raw. But for the first time in 8 years, Jeff Hardy competed in singles action. So the Hardy Boys had a promo earlier. If you noticed, Matt was going in and out of his broken phase character. He had a bit of a, he would go back and forth to that language, that speech that he uses for the broken character, but stayed kind of true to the Hardy Boys character as well. Jeff Hardy took on Cesaro in what was kind of a dream match there, something we have never seen ever, and it was the first singles match for Jeff Hardy in 8 years on Monday Night Raw, which is pretty crazy. He's been gone for 8 years. Unbelievable there. But Jeff ultimately hit a twist of fate and a swanton bomb to get the victory. After the match, hesitantly, Sheamus shook Jeff's hand and shook Matt's hand, and Cesaro shook Jeff's hand, and they made peace at the end. The Hardy Boys will be defending their Raw Tag Team titles against Cesaro and Sheamus this weekend, this Sunday at Payback. So another match to look forward to there. And then perhaps the biggest moment of the year so far. For only the third time in history, the ring exploded. In a stellar match between Braun Strowman and Big Show, they were doing arm drags, kip-ups, whatever you name it. They were flying around the ring like they were cruiserweights almost. And ultimately, it was Braun Strowman hitting a devastating suplex on Big Show, in which it took out the ring, and the referee flew out of the ring, took a nasty bump there. And at the end of that situation, Strowman was the only one standing tall, very dominant. It reminded me kind of like a King Kong type moment at the end, where Strowman just dominant over his prey,
just destroyed
his victim, which was interesting because if you noticed throughout the show, I noticed that early on, the ring posts were not the standard ring posts that they've been using. They were kind of just like the old ones that they were using, the plain ones. So they took out that kind of LED lights from the side. So, it was definitely planned, but nonetheless, it was a very big moment. The crowd in Columbus was very into it. Strowman, I guess, was a winner by KO, maybe, because essentially he was standing tall and his music went on. So, Braun Strowman, a force to be reckoned with. So that was really cool. Now, we're going to get into, let's just get into this week's Raw. Since we do have predictions and stuff to get to for this Raw exclusive pay-per-view, let's just get this one out of the way so we make sure we have time for it. And then we'll get to SmackDown after. I have not caught up to SmackDown. I've missed the last 2 weeks. I'll probably watch it tonight, but I'll get on to it. We can still give the results here. I'm hearing it's 2 very solid weeks of SmackDown, I believe. But let's get into this past Monday's Monday Night Raw. The show opened up with the Chris Jericho highlight reel, in which he said it would probably be the last one on Raw because he would take on Kevin Owens for the United States Championship, and if he wins, he is heading to SmackDown with the title. So, it could be the last highlight reel on Monday Night Raw if he heads to SmackDown. He was interrupted by Miz and Maurice, who said Raw was in fact no longer Jericho, and announced that the show was canceled and being replaced with Miz TV, which I really liked. So they took out the Jeritron 6000 and the set of Jericho, and replaced it with the Miz TV, which are kind of the director's chairs and the set.
Rocks.
What happened?
Owens rocks.
Owens is phenomenal. I have not seen his work, but he has been calling him the face of the United States, right?
Yeah.
The last couple of weeks, and so I'm looking forward to that. Just as Miz TV began, Dean Ambrose came out, the current Intercontinental Champion, and replaced the Miz. He called the Miz a stupid idiot. He said that was, Jericho was thinking it. Jericho agreed, and replaced the Miz TV set with the Ambrose Asylum. So they brought out that that cardboard sign, and that stool, and that ugly rug. It looks like this rug right here.
I'm mad.
Yeah, he said he then presented Jericho with a peace offering because, Jericho and Ambrose had a bit of a checkered past. It was just a couple of years ago, or was it last year, or was it?
I found it funny, that part where he's all like, "You put me through a bunch of thumbtacks and this and that." He's like, "But it was cool, right?"
Right. So they talked about the Asylum match that they had, and Jericho going through thumbtacks, and then Jericho hitting Mitch, the potted plant. Remember the potted plant Mitch on Ambrose's head? So that was funny moments there, good moments. But he said he offered him a new light-up jacket because Jericho said Ambrose still owes him $15,000 for that jacket, and Ambrose is still on the list. He then replaced him with a new one. It was kind of like a sports jacket, kind of with the looked like Christmas tree lights around it. Jericho liked it. It looked very cheap. The Miz pointed that out.
I like how his gimmick coincides. I don't know, did you get to see this past week's Total Divas?
No, I gotta catch up on that too. I've been behind on my shows, been out of town, but I will do that this weekend.
Renee and Dean go on to dinner,
Uh-huh.
and she wants to take him to this fancy restaurant,
Right.
and he doesn't really care to be at a fancy restaurant. He prefer to go to like a bar.
That's who he is. That's kind of that's Dean Ambrose. He's not really playing a character. He's playing himself essentially, because he doesn't care. He wrestles in jeans. He's he looks very dirty at times. He's got messy hair.
It's hilarious because then she tries to like put fancy clothes on him and stuff.
He doesn't fit in. Well, at the Hall of Fame, it was interesting. She was doing the interviews. Did you see the Hall of Fame?
No, I didn't get to see it.
Okay, well, this was during the red carpet special, so before the Hall of Fame on the network that Friday. She was doing interviews, interviewing those that come in, kind of like the red carpet show and everything. And he came in. He was wearing all black, suit. He was wearing a suit. He dressed nice. He was wearing shades inside the entire time, and then at the end, she was kind of fixing him, making him look nice, which is funny. But yeah, she could tell when she was interviewing him, which was kind of funny to see. They were very playful with each other, so that was really cool. And they recently got married, actually, in case you didn't know. They got married 2 weeks ago, I think, which is unfortunate for them because now they're on separate brands. She's on SmackDown Live and he's on Raw, so...
They probably will air that on Total Divas. They're just holding it off.
They usually are a couple months behind.
It's almost expected every season.
Every season you're like, oh, okay, this is definitely going to be for Total Divas. You know it's going to happen, which is interesting. But ultimately, Dirty Deeds to The Miz, once again, by Dean Ambrose, leaving him out there. After Kurt Angle backstage, The Miz and Maurice confronted Kurt Angle, who then placed him in a tag team match against Ambrose and Jericho until told The Miz to find a partner. So that was interesting.
It's hilarious, that whole her talking French to him, and he's like, "Whoa, back
at you!" Yes. Kurt Angle's very good at comedy. He has perfect timing.
Oh man!
I think, and it's very well done. And great to see him back. So the opening contest of the evening was Matt Hardy taking on Sheamus.
Oof.
Good match. Again, Jeff Hardy and Cesaro were ringside, and after a bit of a distraction, kind of inadvertent distraction, so Matt was outside on the floor, and Jeff was checking on his brother, and then Sheamus shoved him out of the way. It was not an accident, it was done on purpose. So Jeff went on the apron to try and, he wasn't going to take it, and it caused a distraction there. Cesaro pulled him down, and they were going back and forth. Ultimately, Sheamus got distracted and got a twist of fate, and got pinned for Matt Hardy to get the victory. There was a post-match handshake, much like the previous week, and it seemed like there was a little more tension between the two, or between the four guys. And so we'll have that tag team contest this Sunday at Payback. Jack Gallagher and Austin Aries teamed up to take on TJ Perkins and Neville. So a little payback for them because they defeated Perkins and Neville by Aries hitting Perkins with that discus 5-arm. Devastating maneuver, very nasty looking finish. But he got the victory there, so he got a little payback from last week. So that was good for them. In a dumpster match. So the first ever dumpster match on Monday Night Raw. The first ever Monday Night Raw. It was only the third in history. I think the other one was at King of the Ring. And the other one was, I want to say...
Bischoff?
No, it was not. That wasn't a dumpster match. Shoot. It was like a Royal Rumble or... It was another miscellaneous pay-per-view. But I know one of them was at King of the Ring. So this...
I thought it was going to be that legit dumpster that Bischoff got put in.
No, that was a truck. That's a truck.
Recycle bin looking thing.
No, yeah, the dumpster was a lot smaller than I believe the previous the previous dumpster matches. Which, I mean, I guess it worked. It worked. Strowman was dominating Kalisto for the entirety of this match until he made a mistake and fell in that dumpster. So Kalisto got a victory over Braun Strowman. So
I thought you would have at least had to put like the lid on them.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, like a casket match. But I guess not. So Kalisto got the victory. So Kalisto has not been buried, but he did get thrown into the trash again because Strowman threw him in, and then it closed.
That outfit.
It's a new outfit. Kalisto, I like it.
Shorts though, like
he's been wearing those shorts for a while. He got new music, which I thought was really cool. I like it.
I was surprised by even the mask looking a little...
It looked a little scary. It looked a little...
That tail, though, it kind of looked almost like a little ripoff of this dragon guy from Lucha Underground.
Oh, okay, like Drago.
Yeah,
Drago.
that tail thing wouldn't...
Kalisto's had that for a while. I don't know who's had it first, but... I think, I don't know, if it fits, I mean, I like it. I think it's different, it's unique. I'm 100% on board. But ultimately, as I was saying, Strowman threw...
Did you see the photo of Sin Cara's new outfit?
Yeah, that's like a traditional Lucha Libre kind of style outfit, a bit. You know, kind of old school a bit.
Glow in the dark.
Yeah, it looks really cool. Hopefully we'll get to see more of it.
Considering he's on Naomi's show.
He's on SmackDown Live.
He felt the glow!
He felt the glow. Hopefully we'll see him in action soon on SmackDown, maybe. I don't know.
Wow.
Usually when superstars change their kind of outfits and music, it's generally a good thing. So we'll see how that goes. But Strowman ended up putting Kalisto in the dumpster and then throwing him off the stage. And then obviously Kalisto was taken out in an ambulance stretcher. And the crowd cheered for Strowman. So.
Well, yeah, they're tired of Kalisto.
Well, I think they're tired of Reigns, too. I think they're starting to like Strowman a bit. I think Strowman has really won them over with his dominance. Again, for the second week in a row, there's no Roman Reigns. So, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, but that's probably just for grieving.
It's likely for grieving.
Yeah.
But in the same time, it works for kind of the storyline because he was taken out on an ambulance, and then the ambulance was pushed over, so...
Was there any more details yet about his brother's death?
No, I don't think so. I haven't
what
read it.
what if it turned out he was like sick and stuff
It was
for like days prior?
It was
Raw?
sudden. I think it was sudden.
Uh,
I want to say it was unexpected. Roman did it in an interview, but I don't think it was like, yeah, they expected it. Yeah, I think it was sudden, but hopefully we'll get some more news on that in the coming days. I haven't looked at anything today, so we'll wait and see. Then Bray Wyatt cut a promo on the Titantron talking about the House of Horrors match against Randy Orton, which is also happening this Sunday.
Wow.
Despite it being a Raw exclusive event, Randy Orton will make an appearance to take on Bray Wyatt again. No mention of the title, which means it's not a title match because they've been promoting Jinder Mahal versus Randy Orton for Backlash already. So
that's strange considering he took off with the belt now too. Like,
yeah, so we'll get into that. Dana Brooke defeated Alicia Fox in a relatively fast match, so somewhat good for Dana Brooke there, hitting that kind of Michinoku driver. Emma then entered the ring and gave Dana a hug. So Emma's kind of been, ever since she came back, she's kind of been trying to get that partnership back between Dana Brooke, the old partnership they had when in NXT, and then when they came back to the main roster before Emma got injured. So we'll see where that goes. Samoa Joe, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson cut a fantastic promo against Seth Rollins, Enzo, and Cass, which is really good. These guys are money, to say the least. They're great on the mic, great in the ring. So it was followed by a 6-man tag team match. Before the match started, Joe and Gallows and Anderson attacked Enzo and Cass, leaving them to waste. Rollins ran down for the save and cleared house. I believe there was a commercial break in between, and so when they came back, Angle said that he found a replacement for Enzo, who was unable to continue, and it was none other than Finn Balor teaming up with Rollins and Cass.
it's too soon.
I mean, it's kind of, at this point, they were going to cross paths at one point, so
It would have made more sense Survivor Series.
that's still several months away, though. I mean, I agree. I think it should have been a bigger deal. But because they kind of just went into the match and they didn't even acknowledge. I think the commentators acknowledged it once, where they said this isn't Japan anymore.
Yeah.
But I agree. It should have been used a bit more for storyline. But I mean, then that's kind of what happened. We have to deal with it. We'll see how it goes. Moving forward. Ultimately, a good match. Seth Rollins hit a new finishing maneuver, waving off the pedigree, hitting a flying knee strike to Anderson to get the victory. I'm mixed about it. I don't hate it, but I'm not loving it. I need to see it more, I think.
Concussion-ish, like...
I mean, depending how hard he hits it, I mean, if the one taking it blocks it with his hands or something, I think it'd be okay. If he doesn't,
I see someone busting their nose soon.
It could. So, it's a matter of just getting that right position, because who knows? I mean, how that can be. It looked fine when he hit it on Anderson this week. We'll see if he gets to hit it on Joe, this Sunday, if he's able to get a victory or at least hit the move. We'll see how it goes, but Seth Rollins has a plethora of maneuvers that he could really branch out. I don't know if we're ever going to see that curb stomp again, because I think that would be really cool, but as of now, it looks like he'll be using that knee maneuver. I originally thought he was going to go for a Rainmaker. Do you know what a Rainmaker is?
So what's the name from New Japan?
New Japan Okada does it. It's kind of that kind of, what is this, straight jacket clothesline? Kind of, where he rolls them and then hits a clothesline. That's what I thought Seth was going for, because he did that motion, but then instead of hitting the clothesline, he hit the knee, which I thought was kind of an interesting way to get it in. I think the Rainmaker would have been just fine too, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes in the coming weeks. Women's division, Alexa Bliss came out and ran down the Raw Women's Champion Bayley. Bayley then came out to defend herself. Bliss then called her pathetic and a sheltered child. She even asked if Bayley has ever kissed a good boy, which I think Bayley's married or engaged. So I think she has. But she says she promised to humiliate her in front of her family at Payback this Sunday because it is going to be in San Jose, which happens to be Bayley's home town. So it'll be a bit of a homecoming there. Sasha Banks then came out and defended Bayley and challenged Alexa Bliss to a match. The match didn't last very long. Bliss essentially escaped and got it counted out. As Bayley was about to grab her and bring her back to the ring, Bliss escaped, and then Bayley turned her back on Bliss, which is not a smart thing to do, because then she laid her out on the stage, and then Bliss ran away, escaping from Banks. So this Sunday, Alexa Bliss taking on Bayley, so that should be really good. Dean Ambrose then approached Jericho backstage. He asked if he would remove him from the list, because he didn't want to be on the list. Jericho, he feels kind of bad. Jericho then obliged and scratched out his name, but then Ambrose seemed a little bit too cheery, and as he walked away, Jericho then rewrote it, which is hilarious. I forgot to mention last week, Jericho had an interview with Mike Durante, or I forgot what his name, the interview guy. Mike, his name is Mike. Jericho had the interview. And as he was going to write his name in as Tom, because he confuses him with Tom Phillips, the Drifter Elias Sampson comes out back. I forgot, when did Elias Sampson make an appearance this week? I think it was during Anderson and Gallows' entrance. Or I think when they were walking, he was playing in the background. He came out twice, I think. But the Drifter Elias Sampson is great. Hopefully we'll see him in a match soon. But I'm loving and Corey Graves, if you haven't watched NXT, every time the Drifter came out, Corey Graves just despises him. No matter if the Drifter's a heel, because he's a heel, and Corey Graves will normally cheer for the heels, he just absolutely hates Elias Sampson and will tear him apart, literally, he just cannot stand him, which is hilarious. And you get a kind of a little preview of that whenever the Drifter came out on Raw, so that was really cool. Charlie Caruso then interviewed Heath Slater and Curtis Axel regarding their roles in the Marine 5, and then they were interrupted by The Miz trying to recruit one of them to be their tag team partner. Rhino then came out and offered Maurice some crackers, and she kind of threw it in his face. Ultimately, Miz got a little note, I guess, from one of the producers saying he got his tag team partner, so it's good for The Miz. Apollo Crews then took on Kurt Hawkins. Again, Kurt Hawkins in the Star Factory kind of gimmick there. Apollo Crews made a short work of Kurt Hawkins, and then Titus O'Neil came out. So in the previous week, again, Titus O'Neil was kind of recruiting Apollo Crews for the Titus brand, saying what he could do and what he could become being a part of the Titus brand. He came out this week and took a selfie with Crews, which happens to be on WWE's Instagram, which you can check that out. Just go to Monday Night Raw and you'll find it, which is hilarious. And Crews just looked very confused. He's like, "What? Why are you here?" So Kalisto apparently suffered a hip and cervical trauma after, according to Michael Cole. They got some word on that. So hopefully Kalisto will be back in action very soon. Chris Jericho and Dean Ambrose took on The Miz and his mystery partner, who did not come until later in the match. So The Miz took a beating for a little while. They all over the arena, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't watch the last 10 minutes, so I kind of missed that. But essentially, Bray Wyatt all of a sudden teleported to the top of the announce table and attacked Ambrose, hitting him with his Sister Abigail onto the Titantron, and then hit Jericho with his Sister Abigail in the ring, followed by a Sister Abigail on his tag team partner, The Miz. It was called off, and there was essentially No winner there. Bray Wyatt officially making his presence felt
Wow.
on Monday Night Raw. So,
That was hilarious with the Miz trying to celebrate with him just to get one of his finishers.
really, I didn't see that. I didn't catch that. Was it very impactful? So,
Well, because he did the Sister Abigail, and then all of a sudden the Miz like, yeah, and he just grabs him and gives him one too.
oh
It's
my god,
hilarious.
that's funny. That's hilarious. And so, I'm currently taking down some notes for our predictions because we should give our predictions right now. So I believe Gallows and Anderson will take on Enzo and Cass on the kickoff show. So who do you have on that? This is a tough one.
It is kind of tough. Because as much as I'd like to see Gallows and Anderson win, I feel like right now they would be bitter and stuff, and they lose to Enzo and Cass. They'll focus on Balor now. Then
You think?
turn their attention to him.
All right. So who do you have?
So Enzo and Cass would win.
Enzo and Cass?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to agree on that. I think Gallows and Anderson got a victory last week, right, on them. So I think it makes sense for that to happen and for that to culminate. And I think Enzo and Cass need a victory at some point, like a clean tag team victory. Because I don't know if they've been really taken seriously. They kind of just got pushed over when the Hardys came back. You know, they didn't get those tag team titles, so we'll wait and see how that goes. For Cruiserweight action, Neville taking on Austin Aries for the Cruiserweight Championship. How do you think this one's going to go?
I think it would be time now for Aries this time.
You think Austin Aries?
Yeah.
This is a tough one. I'm trying to think who would dethrone Neville. I feel like Aries would have been a 100% certainty if TJ Perkins was not involved that Aries would win. Now that TJ Perkins is involved, I'm a little skeptical on how that's going to go. But I will say Aries on this one. So far we're kind of agreeing. I'm going to go with Aries as well. Because I think it's time for a new champion. We've seen a dominant Neville. I think it's time we see him just take a loss. One loss isn't going to hurt him. Also, on the kickoff show, I forgot to mention, it's going to be a special edition of Miz TV with special guest Finn Balor. How do you think this is going to go? Do you think this is going to start a feud between them or what?
Anderson and Gallows will show up.
Well, they're going to be in the pre-show as well with the match, so...
They're going to be bitter. They're going to go after it.
Okay, we'll see. But that's going to happen. We then have Bayley taking on Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship. Who do you got on this one?
I think considering that they're in Bayley's hometown, it would be great for Alexa to win because then it's further much that heat.
Mm-hmm.
It's the best way.
You got Alexa Bliss?
Yeah.
All right. I don't think she's going to win the title that soon, so I'm going to go with Bayley. I think Alexa will be champion. I don't know.
Because how interesting would it be if Sasha cost Bayley the belt?
That's a good point. That's we've been saying that for a while, but it hasn't happened yet. So it's like, is it going to happen or not? Who knows? I must just say Bayley retains. I think they'll let her have this one. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. All right, next up for the United States Championship, and to see who goes to SmackDown officially, Kevin Owens taking on Chris Jericho.
I'd like Chris Jericho to win because if you notice the pattern, everybody who comes, NXT, no, not NXT, well, yeah, from NXT, TNA
Mm-hmm.
person that's crossed over and stuff. Jericho's had that ability to have a program with them, and for him to have one with Shinsuke, I think it would make sense. Jericho would want to go to SmackDown and work with someone over there now.
Okay, cool. So you got Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
So Jericho and Shinsuke have had matches and live events, but not an actual program. So that would be really cool to see. I'm gonna go with Kevin Owens. He's already started kind of this feud with AJ Styles, which is phenomenal. No pun intended. And I think that'll be it. I don't think we'll see Jericho versus AJ again, because we've seen that kind of when AJ came in, and we saw it at last year's WrestleMania. So we'll go with Owens on that. In a House of Horrors match, Bray Wyatt taking on Randy Orton. Honestly, who wins this one?
I say it's Bray, and still by interference of gender.
Yeah, I was starting to think that too. I think I'm going to go with Bray Wyatt, because I think Orton can afford to take this loss. Wyatt gets his revenge on Orton without winning the title, because they have not announced a title match. They've already been promoting Randy versus Ginger at Backlash, which they moved up for some reason, because it was originally, I guess, September, right? Yeah, well, I guess it makes sense for SmackDown to have kind of a Backlash pay-per-view after WrestleMania.
Well, it's interesting, though, how they're already talking about Money in the Bank that soon.
It's in July, right?
Yeah.
And they mentioned it on SmackDown, right?
Yeah, Rusev.
Interesting. Maybe he won't be back until, like, that time, that's why.
Wow.
But alright, we both got Bray Wyatt. We still don't know what the House of Horrors match is. Rumors circulating that it'll start off very theatrical, kind of like a backstage thing or a house thing, and then they end up in the ring somehow. Who knows?
I wonder if it's a rip-off of, like, the Hardys.
Kind of the final deletion.
Yeah.
I mean, they already tried to do that with the New Day. Remember the Wyatt family compound? Hopefully it's something different than that, but we'll see. And I guess this is likely to be the main event, because they've been building it up. It'll be Braun Strowman taking on Roman Reigns. Who wins this one?
Yeah, because technically, for it being a House of Horrors, technically Bray Wyatt no longer has a house.
I think that was his shed. I don't know if that was his house. It might have been. Who knows? Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns. Who do you got? It's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, but I say after all that Roman Reigns has been through already, I think Roman puts him out now.
You think Reigns gets a victory?
Yeah.
I have no idea how to go on this one. So, these two have met before at Fastlane. Reigns beat Strowman clean after hitting like 2 spears or something. Braun has been looking very dominant the last couple of weeks. Do you think if he loses the match that his momentum is lost again?
I think it'd be fine, because Money in the Bank's down the line. He'll just smash them all and just take that briefcase.
Money in the Bank's a SmackDown exclusive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a SmackDown exclusive.
That's such a strange thing for it being 2 separate shows.
It's a SmackDown. I think it's a SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view.
That would be weird.
Yeah, because Raw has...
That should be an
What does Raw have?
interpromotional match.
No, yeah, I only think they're doing the big 4 for interpromotional. Which is Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, Survivor Series. I think Money in the Bank is exclusively SmackDown Live. But I'm going to say, because they've been teasing kind of Braun Strowman taking on Brock Lesnar, I'm going to say Braun Strowman gets his victory. Roman doesn't take a whole lot of losses, for the reason that Vince doesn't, want him to lose or look weak. I'm going to go with Braun Strowman on this. I think he's looked very dominant for a reason. I think he's going to remain dominant for a little while. And he's going to be the perfect opponent for Lesnar at, I guess, SummerSlam is when Lesnar's going to defend the title.
I mean, for Roman to lose,
It's a big deal.
I would say someone would have to, like, interfere and have a program with him.
All right, let's make a prediction. Who would you say Roman has a program with next? Is there anyone on the roster that he could legitimately?
I mean, and I would say when is Eric Young finally gonna?
So he's with Sanity, and I don't
Yeah.
think they're gonna be brought up anytime soon. I think they're gonna wait till next year probably. Yeah. Samoa Joe maybe. Think Joe would get involved with Reigns?
They've always wanted some kind of interaction with two Samoans before.
I mean, Joe's first match was on Raw was against Reigns, and he got a victory over him. So, I mean, they could say they have unfinished business there. Is there anyone else? I'm trying to think that can really be a threat to Reigns. Not Seth. Not
Balor trying to be the next contender.
that'd be interesting.
Babyface
I think Balor.
Babyface.
I think Balor is gonna feud with Wyatt.
Oh.
Remember Wyatt when he first came to Raw? He interrupted Balor and kind of gave him a warning. So I think it would make sense
That would
for.
be kind of tough because I would imagine as soon as if Matt goes broken, Matt will go for Bray.
That's also interesting that they could do that. I don't know. This pay-per-view is going to be very interesting to see how they go.
Yeah, because the Hardys will lose. They have to lose.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that match.
Yeah, they have to lose their bouts.
You think they're going to lose this
To go
already?
broken.
You think it's that soon? I don't know if they've gotten the rights to the broken gimmick yet.
TNA needs money. They might as well just sell the
I
the
don't
rights.
know. I feel like
That
they
poor
probably-
wounded poor Al.
F that Al. Apparently, so they banned those shirts over the weekend.
Oh man.
Yeah, so they said if you're caught wearing those shirts, you're banned.
Wow.
Cesaro and Sheamus. So you got Cesaro and Sheamus then.
Yeah.
You think they're gonna win them that soon?
Yeah, we need broken Hardys.
I don't think they have the rights yet, so I'm gonna go with the Hardy Boys. I'm gonna say they'll be broken. They'll be broken maybe by SummerSlam.
Oh, that's still quite a ways.
That's May, June, July. That's like 3 months. Let them be the Hardy Boys for a little bit, a little nostalgia time, and then once they've kind of creeped back officially, then let them transition to that broken gimmick.
It's because at the same time, I think, what if there's another trade and stuff by then?
Who knows? I don't know. Could be interesting. We'll see. But who else could we see take on Reigns? I think Joe is probably the only legitimate heel. Who else is a heel?
Or what if it's just a thing where both Seth and Roman want the main belt, and they're like, no, I want to be #1 contender. And they're kind of.
You think they'll go back? Because they've already kind of had a feud. See, that's the thing. SmackDown took.
Oh, and just imagine Seth. Like, tell him I still can't believe Hogan slammed him at Mania 3.
We're trying. We have interesting.
Are you talking
comments.
about Andre the Giant?
We're talking about. We're not. We didn't mention Andre the Giant. I mean, it's a big moment, but we have not mentioned Andre or Hulk Hogan on our show today until now. We're getting comments from Periscope.
Looking like Andre. Oh, okay. They're
What
like,
I
you
miss?
looking like Andre. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh. All right then. Oh my God. Anything can happen on this live show. We've a couple of minutes to go. I don't think we're gonna have time for any more
I
recaps.
hate snakes. Oh, careful for Randy's RKO.
Yeah, careful for the St. Roberts. I will say we're almost out of time here. We're not gonna have time to go to SmackDown recap, so we could say that for our Monday show, I guess, because we're a little bit behind. But our Monday show is gonna be filled with news along with SmackDown recap. Impact Wrestling recap? Are we
It's
gonna?
interesting. I don't know if you caught Del Rio's announcement, but he said he's got big news, but he can't say it yet or he'll get fired.
He's talking about Impact Wrestling.
I think so. He's got a big announcement, but he can't reveal it yet or he'll be fired.
That's
Oof, oof.
that's a tough one.
What big star will leave TNA next?
Let's see. Mike Bennett and Maria have already signed a contract. Oh, well, Crazy Steve just left from Decay.
What big star?
What big star? Who's there now? Who's left?
I mean, wasn't Lashley on his way as Jarrett was leaving?
What do you mean?
Bobby Lashley.
You-
Like
what-
people that were from the Dixie era that were bought in. Like those are usually the ones that are most likely to leave.
I don't think Lashley's leaving now because he's kind of the face, isn't he, of the company right now. He's a
Now,
champion.
Although, you know,
I don't
mean,
see.
it makes sense for him to stay considering Bellator and stuff. That's
Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere unless like they mess up his contract or something. You know,
Styles and WWE was the death to TNA. Oh,
Styles and WWE. Not necessarily. I think.
James Storm back on NXT. Question mark.
Oh, James Storm. I mean, his character has changed a lot in the last couple of years.
Yeah, but I mean, Jarrett wants as many originals back as
Jarrett
possible.
wants
He's probably
Storm.
on him.
He went back to his original gimmick.
Yeah.
He's making more money, I think, with Impact than he was with NXT. I think the contract that he was offered, so which is why he went to Impact. So
James Storm is good. Yeah, I
James
mean, the money potential and the program that you could have with Rude way later down the line.
it would be interesting because they're polar opposites now with Bobby Roode's current gimmick as the glorious Bobby Roode, and kind of the cowboy gimmick is very like, you know, you got upper class and lower class. That would be a really good feud.
He
And
was a great heel after Beer Money, right?
who Roode? Or
Will Abyss ever leave TNA?
probably not. If he hasn't left,
I don't know
By
what
now-
Vince would think. Someone with no teeth will sell tickets other than Mick. I don't know.
if Abyss hasn't left now, I don't think, or by now, he probably wouldn't leave unless the company folds. Because he's been with the company almost since day one.
It's interesting to hear how Abyss revealed at one time he turned down the WWE offer. You think your thoughts on Eric James the third? Who? Isn't it EC3 the third?
Ethan Carter the third. Did he change his name? I don't know.
Never say never. He's the worst.
Who's the worst?
I guess they're talking about EC3.
EC3. Well, EC3. I haven't been catching up with the Impact, so
He just turned heel.
he turned heel
Yeah.
again. Yeah, I was kind of seeing that coming. I guess that's cool. He's
Maybe.
good as a heel.
Eli Drake would be the one to leave because he wasn't.
Eli Drake's great, and I think they need to utilize him more. I think I agree. I think he needs to be the one to leave.
Remember when EC3 pinned the ref in the ring? He pinned the ref?
I think it was like a match. I think it was Earl Hebner,
Oh.
where he kind of pinned him in a match that they had, and he forced his son to do the pin, I think, or something like that. That's when he was like back, with the Dixie and kind of that
It
original.
was the worst segment ever.
There's a lot more worse segments than I think that we could probably name.
I saw it on Opie and Anthony.
No clue what that is. We're actually running out of time here, so we've got to say our farewells. Unfortunately, on Monday we're gonna get back on track. We're gonna finish our SmackDown recaps. We'll discuss some Impact Wrestling.
TNA is becoming the minor league promotion, like when they first started, a bunch of stars, no names.
That could be a good thing. We'll talk about Impact. We'll talk a bit more about their new brand and such. We'll talk about news that's happened over the last several days, And we'll get back on track. Until next time, you can check us out on YouTube, Beyond the Ropes. Give us a like on Facebook, facebook.com/Beyond the Ropes. Check us out on YouNow and Periscope every Monday, Wednesday around 11 o'clock a.m. Pacific Time. We are on WPMD Radio 5 to 6 p.m. Mondays and Wednesdays. And we are on your SoundCloud, correct? Rob
Yes.
Flores, search that up. Until next time, I'm Ethan.
I'm Rob.
And this episode has just been too
Sweet.